Ragita, it's such an honor to have you back in Singapore after quite some time this time. I just myself also returned from this wonderful pilgrimage, which signifies union. So that's kind of my first question. What does union really feel like in the 5D, if you will, and also in the 3D? For the feminine, for the masculine, and for the both together.
For the twin flames?
Yes.
Firstly, thank you for your lovely opening, being back in Singapore. It's lovely to see you. It's always when I see you, I feel like I've come home to a sister. I have a very special connection. Great question. So union in the 5D actually for the feminine is when she consolidates her own inner yin yang with herself. So she's no longer, the pining begins to recede and the yearning for the external twin begins to, you still love them. The love never goes. That's unconditional. That channel stays open all the time. It's just that now the energy is you're more consolidated in yourself. So you feel anytime that you're looking outside of you, remember, no, actually, it's the love within me that I'm cultivating and growing. You become much more independent. You're usually good on your finances. You're good on your taking care of yourself, taking care of business, taking care of the kids, taking care of your life without subjugating it to somebody outside of you, including your twin, and also not relying on anything outside of you. You become like a self-referencing mechanism. For the divine masculine, inner union is them really, really accessing the feminine within themselves, accessing that place that they get to feel that place where they haven't felt for a long time. They haven't had that touch point of healing within themselves. So the masculine is very good on the 3D, as we've discussed before. Where he lacks is finding that place within himself to feel the pain, to feel the challenges, to see through the challenges and really hold his own inner feminine with no judgment, because men throughout millennia have been told, or the masculine is to, if you feel, you're weak. So it's allowing themselves, A, to be vulnerable, B, to feel without judgment, and C, to really access that place within them that makes them feel love for themselves again that they haven't had in a very long time. Hence why they may have gone for a distorted feminine or their own divine feminine. They will look for the feminine outside of them. Men have not known how to access the feminine aspect within themselves, especially the DMs. They're leading this. So that's why there was a lot of third-party situations with DMs because they couldn't be with their divine feminine because she was already growing, ascending, evolving, consolidating into her wholeness. So they would have gone for a distorted feminine who hasn't done that in order to be able to connect to the feminine energy. So what's really, really important about what you just asked is that union for the feminine is to go within and find her own wholeness and really, really find that place within her where she's, unobstructed and consolidated in her own grids. And for the masculine, for the DM, it's to actually feel again, to feel the love, to feel that place of compassion, to feel that place of understanding within themselves, to connect to their inner world that they have never had the opportunity to do. But they can only do it when the divine feminine does it in 5D first. She becomes his mirror that he then emulates and learns how to then move back into the self, to heal, to love unto thyself, to really stop. Another big thing I noticed with the DMs in that part of the journey of healing their own inner union is to also stop judging themselves. They're really hard on themselves, really, really hard, even more than the feminine. They almost can't forgive themselves. So the forgiveness journey for the DM on the wholeness frequency is a very important part of them to forgive themselves and forgive others for what's transpired in their dealings in this lifetime and usually carried through from other lifetimes. That's the 5D. 3D union is literally them coming together into one harmonious union in the physical, where the soul bodies merge as one into the physical. So they're two vessels in physical, but one soul in 5D, because now the two souls merge into one when they're healed, and they come into the two bodies to form the third unified field. From that, it does take a bit of time, and quite often I'll tell the feminine, go in slow. Go really slow. If you're too fast for them, they'll back off because the electrical charge will be too strong in a pulsing point with the magnetic frequency of the feminine. So you've got to go slow to allow them for the circuits to gently merge with the feminine energy. When they do come together, also notice another thing that happens for a little while until it establishes a new equilibrium. is a bit of an in and out, but it's not in and out where they disappear. They stay close, but they may take a bit of distance or go on a journey or move to a different location so that they can naturally calibrate the energy to bring it into full unification. And that's usually led by the divine masculine because they lead in the 3D. So they understand at a soul level, okay, if we're too close in proximity, the energy grids won't come together. I'm going to need to create a distance between the two polarities to allow it to naturally circumnavigate itself onto its own north node. So it almost like you work on your own north pole, south pole energy in your twin flame connection. DM leads it. Sometimes it's a divine feminine that moves, but predominantly it's a divine masculine that will shift. And I'll give you an example. I've got twins in Australia. She's in one location, he's another in the same state. He comes in and out. So he stays in his house, she's in her home. They would spend 2-3 days together in her home, and then he'll leave. Or they'll come to his home and then she'll leave. So they're doing a cross grid all the time so they can go back into each other's energy field and turn the energy unto thyself until they become completely consolidated within their own being in 3D. And that takes a while. It's called the individuation process within the union. So first they do individuation in the separation to come into their own wholeness, the yin yang. Once the two souls have healed, the two souls come together naturally and gravitate towards each other. They do the individuation within the union.
Fabulous. I think all of it makes so much sense and even resonates to a great extent. It's very interesting, how you explain this, how it feels in the 5D for the feminine as well as the masculine. Is there a point beyond which, it's obviously challenging to hold it. There's a lot of work that needs to be put, especially on the feminine side, because it's the 5D. But is there a point beyond which, there's no point of return? It just keeps elevating and moving upward.
Love that.
Or is there always a challenge of flipping back into the old state or the old world? Because, as you said, you need to kind of keep calibrating and keep it slow. But at what point there's no point of return? There's only ascension for both of them.
Yes. So it's another great question. There is a point of no return for twin flames when they both have deactivated the ego. So when they're both in that energy of love and they can both keep surrendering into the energy of their union, that's when the full union, then it shoots up. It actually accelerates very fast. So it starts quite slow. The journey of reunification of the two twins in the physical starts slow. It's a bit of a dance. Definitely. The masculine will take the lead. The feminine will follow suit. Sometimes, and energetically, I must say, and this is very important that everyone understands this on the twin flame journey, that the divine feminine will always lead spiritually. She's the emotional leader. She's the intimacy leader. She's the spiritual leader. She's the energetic leader. That never goes. She's emotionally, energetically, she carries the union. Physically, the divine masculine carries the union. He leads in 3D. So he might show destinations of where to be, places to go, earth grids to do, taking care of business, taking care of, the structural archetype of the 3D is managed by the masculine. The energetic archetype of the union is activated by the feminine. So he physically does it externally, she activates internally. Once that's strengthened through their bond of love and unification and connecting and being together and, really speaking things out and surrendering into one another, what happens is you move through what's called the eye of the needle, or in science it's called 0 point. When you move through the 0 point gravitational pull of the union, energetically, very quickly it spirals up. And that's how they ascend. They both become lighter in their body. They literally become ascended beings, that you can almost see their silhouette, the silhouette of the feminine completely changes, where they may start to look completely alike, You look at each other and you can just literally morph them into one another. Their energy begins to be very similar. They start to look alike. They will, obviously you're exchanging thoughts all the time in the lower vibrational energies, but once you're in full ascended unification of the 3D, you don't even need to speak. The words get exchanged telepathically. They will completely feel each other. There's a complete honesty, openness, rawness, vulnerability, energetic grid lines that are just one and the same. There's no difference. And that just keeps ascending. There is no point of return after that. Very, very, I've never seen it actually. I don't think I've ever had one case. The only time they regress back into separation where it can get ugly again, and it's because one of them or two have gone too much into the egoic energy of the twin flame union, and the mind will start to play games, or they haven't done enough healing. But if you've got to the point of union, you've done enough healing. So it's not usually activated by healing. It's usually activated by the ego attempting to reduce or remove annihilation. So it's really important for twin flames coming onto the final journey to stay really surrendered and in the heart. Really allowing that flow from the heart, allowing the soul to be led by the soul, led by your essence, led by your one shared soul frequency. The ascension goes through 0 point, what we call the eye of the needle, into the ascension acceleration graph quite quickly, because you move into light, and light is light. It's very light, even in energy, even in quotient, it's very light. You're working anti-gravitational. Gravity is heaviness, anti-gravitational is light.
And what cues does the divine feminine look for in the masculine? Because as you described, there's this what you often call the threading and weaving and calibrating.
Yes.
But while she's letting him kind of follow his journey and also take cues from her and mirror that and put in his work. What cues does she look for?
Cues looking for
in the masculine, that he's
ready for union.
Yes, or getting there, putting in the work and on his journey.
Yeah. So the cues the feminine would be looking for is integrity. Biggest thing is that what they say and what they're doing are in check. That he follows through. I think it's very important that the divine feminine sees that he's following through. So he's not just saying it, because if he's just saying it, he hasn't enacted or actioned it within his own vessel first, then he won't do it for the feminine. There'll be disappointment, and that will create that rupture again. So in seeing that they are consolidated, that they are following through with what they're saying, that there's a genuinity and an authenticity, because sometimes the DM, in order not to lose the DF, will tell her things that she wants to hear. So it's very important that she doesn't just hear what he says, but watch what the masculine does. Watch what the divine masculine is doing on the journey versus what he's saying. Because they can say all the right things, and their intent is to do it, by the way. Their heart is in the right place, but they may fall short in the action plan. And that's, I think in any situation, but in particular with DMs, because they need to know that they're ready for that final reunion. They may renege a little bit and when that happens, you're not to chase. I think I want to emphasize that. I've had a few DFs who've got so close that, oh my God, I'm not letting this go. And the more you hang on with fear and chase, the more he will become elusive. You need to let the natural process take its course. Now, there also may indicate to me there are some certain final threads that the divine feminine needs to do in order to prepare for that final reunion. Because remember, energetically you lead. So in the 5D, the divine feminine leads. If in the final reunion, the DM is saying things and with the right intent, I feel it, I know it when they're, you can tell in the beginning of the journey when it's deception versus at the end of the journey when the intent is there, but they may fall short because of some actions or some obstruction externally, because remember, they're led by the external world. That indicates to me the divine feminine still needs to do some work to help bring that in. Otherwise, it can create a rift. So it's really important that if your DM has got the right intent, is saying all the right things, and his actions aren't fully flowing or they're intermittent, there's something within you that you need to consolidate first. And it's not that we're to blame why they haven't done it. I want to make sure that I'm very clear on that. People say, oh, the divine feminine gets the blame for everything. No, it isn't. The divine feminine is the energetic leader. You are the imprint of the soul coding in how it begins to mesh and merge together. So if your divine masculine has not done the final meshing, it's because there's something not clicking within your piece. Your piece needs to be recalibrated or reshifted. It's another frequency loading which we haven't done yet. So it's like a piece of the puzzle, but the piece of the puzzle now changes. The piece that would have fitted in before no longer fits. It's a new piece that needs to be activated. That piece fits in. Final reunion.
Interesting. And what happens next? There is the so-called soul mission together that
yes,
the DM and the DF are meant to have. How do they access it? How do they look for signs as to what are they meant to do together? Because, all this is in the end to also pay it forward, do
Correct.
God's work and help people in the world ascend and help them heal. So how do they find what's that particular modality of soul mission that say a particular twin flame couple have?
Yeah, no, I love it. It's another great question, Guruji, you've asked. The soul work and the soul mission of twin flames is very, very important. And that's the part that after twins get together, it's not the love is the underpinning core of the union, but the light work is what we're here to do. We've come as a conglomerate to assist the ascension of the planet. The particular coding of each twin flame couple gets shown to them. If they don't just stay in the energy of love and love making and just, you can't make it just about the two of you. It has to move into the third unified field. That will get shown to you depending on what the passions are, what your missions are. Location is another very important thing, where the locations of the twin flames are, their roles, what their specific roles are in the third dimensional plane that they may be doing, that they end up. For example, I have two really high-powered twin flames in the United States. They're both in government departments. After their union has already begun, actually, they're going on their first 6-week journey. Wishing you all the best. They know who they are, about to go on a 6-week journey together. They will stay in government, but that's important. We need light workers in places of darkness, in places of constitution and institution where there's manipulation and deception and deceit and obstruction, right? So their role will only expand in that, because they're very high level. They're very high level government. So they will stay in those roles in order to enact what's required for the awakening of humanity. Other twins will come together and they might, it depends on I guess it all depends on the individual unique blueprint. The first thing is getting them together. So there's a two-prong approach here, which I love your question. Some twins are not together in the beginning because they do the light work together. For example, some of the planetary twins, of which I am one of them, we do the light work with our twin from a distance. So because we need the two individuation light quotants to be in separate positions on the earth in order to calibrate and heal the earth grids. So planetary twins, quite often, they will do the light work first. The love comes in second. So for those twins, their mission has already started before their final reunion. Their mission is already in union to do the light work for the planet. Then there are other twins that really push together to come together for the love first. Once their love unites, then the light work begins. The light workers that do the light work first, they're already in union. So their energy of coming together in love is at the right time once all of the pieces that I spoke about, the final, after ascension, after union, there's a shift in the grid. Literally like a pole shift on the earth, there's a shift in the grid for twin flames. The pieces of the puzzle change. They move into a much more hologramic energy field. So the piece that would have fitted in before no longer fits. And I know you'll go through that as you're getting very close with him. And obviously we'll connect then and go through it. The hologramic pieces are completely different to what you've dealt with in 3D. They're multidimensional. They're not solid 2D. They're not a piece of a puzzle. They're not like not a solid piece. It becomes holographic, and it's movable and it's luminous and it's got the DNA spiral in it. So because now you're morphing into one, the two souls are coming into one soul, morphing back into two bodies in the one soul, shared as one, which is a very different frequency to what you had when you were in separation or in the individuation process. Same with the light workers, the twin flames that come together as light workers first are already in union. They're already communicating. They're already giving each other the codes. They're already sharing. There's a lot of love between them. They do the light work of the ascension first. They get to receive the love later as the gift because of the work that they have done and put into place. They'll know when that is. Energies will bring them together. That's a different, that they come from a different grid line. It's more magnetic. They work more with the magnetic codes and the north compass of the earth. Whereas the love workers, the ones that are working towards love and breaking the templates of love and smashing paradigms of karma and removing all the old templates in the matrix around relationships first, their light mission has already started by breaking down the templates. Now they've got to live that template, the new template that they birthed together. And through that, their work will come through an individuation process of their own unique blueprint frequency of their one shared soul.
Fabulous. And what happens to the karma that, or the karmic baggage that you have come into the earth, and a lot that you probably through the healing taken care of and moved through.
Yeah.
But what happens to the 3D challenges? Here's this union and the mission, and serving the world and God's work. How does that fit with the 3D challenges? Because you're living on the physical plane. You've got day-to-day challenges like housing, where do you live, and jobs and all of that, and to an extent other karmic challenges.
Yeah.
What happens to that? How do they really navigate all that? Because here there's the ascension, the gift, and the mission, and the day-to-day challenges, because some of them have children, some of them have, they have jobs. What happens to all of that, and how does that play out?
So the first thing, it's another great question, Girija, is that the 5D births itself into the 3D. So by you coming together in that full final unification as twin flames on the journey, navigating the 3D plane becomes easier because you are creating the new templates. So because you're birthing the 5D into 3D, the 5D is stronger. It actually eradicates the fear grids, by the way, before you get together, there can be no karma. There has to be dharmic grids. So usually karmic grids have been healed or sorted out in some form or mechanism. Twins can only come together once the karma has been neutralized, because they come together through the dharmic power of the shared love. When that happens, the energies around it or related to it, karmic challenges, dissolve, because they increase in vibration because of the twin flames. So if there's children involved, for example, the children get raised with the frequency because of the pure love that the divine feminine, divine masculine have for each other. These children are taught new templates of unconditional love, which then they go in and act in their own relationships. A lot of children that are connected to twin flames will not have karmic relationships. They'll move into soulmate or dharmic connections because they would have learned through the twin flame journey of the parent what it's like to be in true love, especially for the ones that are now in union, because they've done the truth. Now, I'm not talking about the DMs who are still in distorted energies or, cultivating third dimensional plane karmic partners and, playing the game with the DF. That's a different story. I'm speaking here specifically about DMs who've done the work, done the light work, connected with their divine feminine, come into union. The energy of his truth and transparency will be passed on to the children, which creates new templates upon the earth. So even if there's a 3D challenge, it no longer becomes 3D. The 3D rises into the 5D. 3D is fear, 5D is love. So the energy of the pure love of the 5D connection births itself into the third dimensional plane, and as a result ascends it with it. When you no longer become part of the matrix, you're deactivating the matrix, removing the compulsion magnets that are there that are repelling the growth into union. So children involved will rise in vibration. Jobs involved will rise in vibration. If you're in a job that is no longer your truth, you will leave it because there's no more mask. There's no more veil. There's no more illusion. There's no more distortion around the money. Oh, I need the money. So all of that changes. When you're in twin flame union, you're abundant. So if you're in a job you're not happy, that goes. It falls away. The 3D life of twin flames, as you know it, falls away when union, full reunification happens, because now they're living authentically in their truth, in pure love, in divine service, in divine light, and they're in that energy grid of the 8 configuration moving between them that solidifies their love and power even stronger to form the 3rd unified field. So anything that comes in their wave, anything that comes in their form will be transformed. That's how powerful the reunification of twin flames is.
So Ragida, I'm always very grateful to have met you nearly a year ago.
Yeah.
Actually. And
no, over since February.
Yes.
This month.
This month.
Yeah.
And
it's only been a year, but lifetimes. I feel like I've known you for lifetimes. I have a pure love for you.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you've said that to me. And I think on one hand, I'm so grateful, so deeply grateful to God for this opportunity to, get to know you and, taking this journey together. And there's been so much growth and learning. It's coming very deeply from my heart and soul, as you can feel.
I feel it, yeah.
I think, among everything I've come across in terms of the messages I would get to reveal what this journey is about, I think the only person who has, who really knows the truth has been you.
Oh,
and
thank you.
And because there's a lot of interceptions trying to flip you into a lot of negativity and really not have hope and almost.
So
I'm sure so many divine feminines have been in that place or are in that place where they second guess themselves, or they've been told or made to feel like they're delusional, and but you've really shown the truth, and I know that because of how it's played out. And how do we really give hope to those beautiful feminines, because it's challenging for them, and
great question.
How do they really keep staying in the power and keep having faith and keep moving forward and keep stepping into their highest potential and timeline?
So for all the divine feminines out there, I just want to share a little bit without, obviously respecting. And this, again, is very organic conversation. There's been no pre-preparation. Grija's very close to union, and she's done a lot of work for it and showed up in her authenticity and in her truth and in her integrity. And what I want to share with all of you is we've all been through it. Every divine feminine, you are not delusional. You are not crazy. You're not wasting your time. You're not wasting your eggs. I hear this a lot. What I want to share with you is that if you stay true to you and you seek that wise inner counsel within yourself, or a true twin flame healer, there's a lot of coaches out there that are not speaking the truth or saying the DMs haven't done the work. That is not true. If you're doing the work, your DM's doing the work. If you're not doing the work, the DMs are not doing the work. You mirror each other. It's as simple as that. Remember, I want to remind you of one thing. You're one consciousness, literally one consciousness in 2 separate vessels witnessing each other. That's what twin flames are. They're one vessel, they're one consciousness experiencing each other through 2 different vessels, through polar frequencies. One is yin, one is yang. If the yin does the work, which is the divine feminine, and in your case, it's you really entrusting your own soul, going within, stop asking questions outside of you to people who do not know, because they're going to lead you down the wrong path. It's so important that you connect to the divine, connect to your inner counsel, and connect to a mentor who's genuinely been on the journey and genuinely living the authentic path of the divine feminine. The divine feminine is a construct unto itself. If you stay in your power and you stay in that energy of love and that energy of hope and that energy of faith, and you trust God, I guarantee you, I can look at every single person, and Girija will vouch for this, union will come. Union is inevitable if you've met your twin flame in this lifetime. And I've said it on previous videos and I'll say it again. I will challenge any person that says the opposite, because I have had and have to show you that twin flame union is part of this, as long as you show up in the work, as long as you show up in the love, as long as you are completely. And it's going to be challenging. You know, it's not a straight path, as we know. Ascension is a spiral. There's going to be illumination of the dark and there's going to be activation of the light. You're going to experience both the depth of pain, but then the height of heights and light and love. And as long as you keep threading and weaving your energy and growing and ascending and evolving and believing in you and God and your twin, union is inevitable for every twin flame this lifetime. I would challenge anybody that says it, and I would love to have you on a podcast to discuss it if you don't believe it. But every person I've worked with who showed up fully, impeccably, in integrity, with love, deactivated the ego, has got union. Truth or not, Girija?
Absolutely. So, Ragita, I think, as part of this journey, especially when separation kicks in, and perhaps I've come across a few who were aware of the concept, the label, if you will.
Yes.
Or, just how this kind of a soul connection works. But for a lot of us, including me, it was when the separation kicked in. And of course, most of us feel like, we were in a very karmic connection.
Yeah.
And going through the pain and trying to move on, as they say. And as you're beginning to heal the pain, and when you come to the right place, suddenly you start getting information out of nowhere, and truth start getting revealed to you by God and ways of the universe, because you're probably ready.
Yeah, correct.
And to accept it. But of course, there's always a lot of dissonance in terms of, am I delusional, or am I really? Is this really happening with me? And am I a real twin, or was it just a karmic connection? So you go through phases of, at least I've seen people go through that, and myself also. You keep going back and forth into this state of yes, and then maybe not, till of course, I did meet you, and you had gifts to be able to confirm that, but you still go into dissonance. When you flip back into pain, you're like, oh, maybe not, maybe I'm just being delusional. But I think God really also has their way to keep showing you signs till a point where you feel like, no, you can't make so much up.
Exactly.
And as you keep as you stay committed to your healing and growing into your power and the path of God, I think more and more the signs become even more profound and almost magical. So how do you help feminine, especially? I know a lot of masculines also come to you for work, but how do you help feminines really acknowledge and understand and accept that they are on this journey, and they're not going crazy, as you said before? How do you really confirm it for them?
So how I confirm divine feminines are on the twin flame journey is it doesn't leave you. It doesn't go, no matter what happens. This journey, this person, their sign, their name, the smell, everything about them is constantly there. They're in your dreams, they're in your conscious state, they're in your awakened state. You hear their name, you hear their songs related or connected to them. You may be, it just doesn't leave you. Whereas if it's a karmic, once the love is complete, once the lesson's complete, you no longer feel anything for them. The only constant on the twin flame journey of knowing you're a true twin is the love is a constant. The love never goes, no matter what happens, no matter what the situation, no matter the circumstance, no matter the event, no matter the destination, no matter how far away they are from you. And even if you've had silence and not spoken, The only constant is love between you, because it is a constant love of God through the red thread that keeps you connected to remind you that you are twin flames. It is the power of love within the soul that stays eternally activated and awakened. It never sleeps. It's the mind that has dissonance and goes into an unawakened state. The heart and soul is always awake. It always knows the activation of the love of this individual is the other half of my soul. Therefore, on the twin flame journey, when you're going through it and you think you're crazy in the beginning, that's just the mind fearing annihilation. The heart and soul keep beckoning you forward. The heart and soul keep urging you, and threading the pulsation between you and your twin never stops. And if you stop and try to be in other relationships or other connections, they'll come to you in the dream time, or they'll come to you through a person that knows you, or you'll get that song, that constant song, the smell, the name, the numbers, the sounds, the frequency. It's non-stop, because it is a godly connection where the marriage already, the sacred marriage was made in heaven, that's attempting to rebirth itself on the third dimensional plane to activate true love on earth again. Therefore, it will never go. The constant is love. The activation portal is light. If you're in the dark, you're not going to feel the love of the connection. If you're in the light, you're going to feel the love of the connection. That's how you know. It's the activation and the threading of light and love together to form truth through the opening of the heart in the divine feminine, which catapults the divine masculine's third eye to see the truth and re-emerge himself back into the heart. It's a threading from the heart to the third eye, awaken the truth, activated back into the heart, concealed into the soul consciousness of both the divine feminine and divine masculine. It never goes. It's the only constant.
I love it when you say it never goes, and I'd just like to add that
because it's the truth. If you think about your karmics or people you've loved before, yes, like I still love my previous partners, but from a different level. It's from I thank you, I appreciate you, I really honor the journey we had together. I thank you for that time that we spent for whatever we needed to create or learn or activate within each other or complete. But you don't think about them in the same way. Your twin is constantly there because they are you. Your twin is constantly there because they are the other half of your soul. They're, even if you want to forget them, you can't. Once you see something, you can't unsee it. And that's the same with your twin. Once you've seen him, met him, been activated and activated each other, it's the same for them, by the way. They can't unsee something you've already seen. How?
Yeah.
It doesn't go. And even if you drug that person for it to go, the soul remembers. The soul has an all-seeing eye. It will remember. Always. Constant.
Yeah, I guess the mind forgets, the soul knows.
Correct.
And as you said, it never goes, and I think it only grows.
Yes, correct.
I can truly vouch for that.
I love that's very true.
It not just doesn't go, it constantly grows.
Yeah, and one last thing I want to say on that, I love that you said that, Grija. People say to me, but Rikita, can you love them even more? I said, you know what? Every time you meet them, every time you connect with your twin, the love goes deeper like the first time. It just goes deeper and deeper and higher. It's like you've met for the first time. It's got that intensity of passion and excitement, but it's deeper. If you can even imagine that, that's how exciting it is. It's stronger, it's more powerful, it's more activated, but it's like the first time, and there's an excitement because you are an eternal being where you're transcending time. So the wise one and the child, the inner child together merge to form a very powerful dynamic of sweetness, of love, of wisdom, of the activation of knowing, of knowledge, of it all coming together all at once. So potent, omnipresent.
I'm getting goose flesh as you say that. There's also a lot of, I've heard from you and also read about it. Do twins who come into union, is this really their last lifetime on earth? Maybe throw a little bit of light on that, please, for everybody else to know. What does that really mean? And how do you fulfill your purpose, before transitioning to the other side, if you will? And sometimes, and it's when you look at somebody's birth chart, that's not what
Yeah.
looks
I'll take
like.
birth charts out of it because twin flames are a cosmic force, so they don't fit. Twin flames are a cosmic force, so they don't fit into the third dimensional plane paradigm of. It can give you a broad, but it's not very specific, I would say, doing birth charts. What I do know, though, is for twin flames who've come into this lifetime, at this point of evolution, we go through what's called a precession of the equinox every 26,000 years. We're in that place again, in the Alcini belt. And when that happens, a mass entourage of twin flames come onto the earth because they're God's strongest soldiers. They come in pairs because God makes everything in pairs to activate the earth, to deactivate the matrix and the templates of fear, and recalibrate the energy of unconditional love, divine peace, and divine light on earth again. So we have come for a very specific role this time, at this point in evolution, because we're going through an awakening on the planet for the next 2,000 years of complete unconditional love and light activated as one of the light worker streams. There's 7 light rays. One of the strongest light ray are the twin flames. They're the leading light ray. So they are the ones catapulting, activating and awakening the earth into its highest timeline. Therefore, it is their final lifetime for the ones that come into union, because they will move on to higher grid lines after they have mastered the pure potency of unconditional love in physical form. They know how to do it in outer form, which means in the spiritual realm, but it's in the physical form. Once they learn how to do it in the school of earth, to master unconditional love through the grid lines of the body, from carbon to crystalline matrix, from there they can do more accelerated work in the outer realms when they leave this earth again. So they've come in to learn some lessons on how to be in flesh, holding the unconditional love grids, unconditional light, and pure peace channel, instrument of peace for God, to work through them. Once they've done that job, then they can activate other pulsing points in the cosmos together. So they ascend together. They no longer need to separate to try and find each other again. They've found each other. They've worked through their nuances, through their challenges, through the grids they had to, through the interference of the third dimensional plane, because they are powerful light workers on the outer realms again. So when they ascend this lifetime, they will ascend together, not separate. That's what's powerful. For those twins, this is their last lifetime. They came in to get that special gift of in flesh, to then create and reverberate throughout the entire cosmos, and also to ascend together so that the separation of the soul no longer reoccurs. It comes back in together into final union, a marriage made in heaven, activated and planted on earth to show the new templates for the next few thousand years of what true love looks like, moving away from karma, allowing people to come into their sovereignty, choosing true love as their path, becoming authentic. And the greatest thing is giving people sovereignty. This is an awakening of the human mass movement into sovereignty, soul liberation, and coming into the freedom of who you are by the truth of what we have done, by the acknowledgement of knowing that we can hold unconditional love in a dense template. We then, through osmotic energy, teach humanity how to do it. And that's the awakening. We've come for the mass awakening. We've come for the ascension of the earth. We've come for the reunification of the soul. And we've come for God to recreate templates of heaven on earth again, so we can live how we were meant to live right from the beginning of time. Let there be light, light it is. Let there be love, love it is. That's what twin flames are here to do. As they ascend, the new earth has then been birthed through generations of the light of the time to come.
Wonderful. I think this journey is nothing short of a gift from God.
I agree.
Despite the pain and everything you go through. And
I agree.
I'd like you to maybe shed some light on what you see as common challenges twins go through when they, in their childhood and growing up years, until they reach this point where they're able to heal and start ascending. There's a lot of people, and I've seen this as a pattern, including myself. You go through a very difficult life.
Yes.
And if you could shed some light and give some hope to people that, it was meant to be that way, and
Yeah.
You were meant to go through those challenges to exactly be at this place where you are, and,
Yeah.
and learn to heal and grow and ascend.
So it's most important that I share with you that twin flames take the most difficult life obstacle path available, because God has the greatest gift for them at the other side. But most importantly, twin flames go through very challenging childhoods and very difficult life on purpose. It's chosen on purpose so you can be in purpose. Having difficulty in your life is on purpose by God so you can cultivate and activate in purpose, divine purpose. And that's for a reason. The greatest obstacle path, the greater the mastery of your soul, the greater the obstacle path. Because once you get to the top of your summit, union is there. I will say it again. Guaranteed, union is there if you get to the top of that summit. Is there challenge going up the mountain? Absolutely. Is there going to be avalanches? Is there going to be, hypothermia, cold temp? All of it is there. But if you transcend fear and you work through your light and you open up your heart to trusting the divine, trusting your soul, trusting your twin flame, union is guaranteed and inevitable. Childhood traumas have been chosen by twin flames on purpose prior to incarnation to assist the mass awakening of healing childhood traumas, especially around sexuality, around power, around control, around abuse, around boundaries. All of it is there, around death. We transform everything. Twin flames have chosen what the mass consciousness go through on the collective to help awaken, bring light and heal and clear, transform, ascend and vibrate out of those dark, dense energies back into light, to become the innocent, pure children that we were meant to be. Twin flames are the children of God. They carry the codes of innocence within their DNA. Every soul does. But twin flames are specifically activated with it. It's activated, whereas the majority of humanity, it's dormant. Through the activation of the twin flame in childhood traumas, they activate and pulsate the dormant DNA in other humans that have gone through these traumas. So the healing and awakening and bringing to light of childhood traumas, of difficult paths, of challenges, of financial construct, relationship construct, whatever it may be, as twin flames go through it and take it head on with love, with God behind them, it opens up humanity to be able to say, if that person can do it, so can I. We become the template of healed energy on the earth to remember that we are superhuman in our abilities. All of us. All of humanity. It's not just for the rare few. There are no chosen ones. If you are a God, if you're a child of God, you are the chosen one. It isn't for a select group, a select religion, or a select few, or a select label. It's for everybody. Every soul is a chosen one if you're a child of God. That's what I want to share. And the child of God is the emphasis I will say. If you've connected to the divine, you've connected to your twin, you're on the path to smash and break paradigms on the earth that no longer serve humanity, that have kept them in slavery, that have kept them in the matrix, that have kept them powerless and headless. Now, as we activate, ascend, awaken, and transpire into the highest energy grid line of ourself, into our highest destiny, it will do the same for every other human. That's our role. That's our mission. We go through it first so that we can pave the way, so we can break the grid lines and expand the light spectrum for other humans to come through, to then remember their greatness, to remember their soul, to remember their sovereignty, to remember their power, and the greatest thing, to remember their God self, to get out of the slavery matrix and come into the quantum field sovereign being. That's the magic of twin flames, coming out of the matrix, teaching people how to come out of the matrix by deactivating it from slavery and reactivating the quantum field of consciousness of yourself, sovereign God self, realized.
Ragita, I'd like to request you to, teach everyone out there, both divine feminines and masculines, to really, how do they fully, completely get out of fear and get into the space of love and faith, to not have any fear of anything, fear of losing anything, fear of even death, for example. How do they completely get out of it? Can you give some codes and cues for them to really get into that space and also hold that for good?
Yeah, so fear is a very important factor. So anyone that tells you they can eradicate fear fully would be making things up. Fear is very important for survival. So maybe let me give that the distinction. We don't want to eradicate fear fully, because fear is needed. If you're crossing the road, you need to know if there's a car coming. You don't cross that road. So that part of the brain for fear is very essential that we have that. The fear that, so what I'm trying to say is that there are components of fear you need to have for your safety. Beyond that, fear is no longer needed. So here's the distinguishment that you ask yourself, if this is for safety, do I just use fear here to make sure that I stay safe? That is okay. What we want to teach you on the journey, though, is to transcend the fear of where you stay in a safe space when you know you can move out of it. Safety to keep you safe is a different distinction to safety to not move because you're too scared to move into your power. One of them, staying safe when something fearful is happening, that's being in your power. But staying in safety when you become powerless because you're not moving, that's not where you want to be. That's a distinguishment. So I wanted to give that first. Coming out of fear is a very, very important thing on the twin flame journey because it's all in the mind. Heart and soul don't have fear, it's the mind. The mind fears annihilation. The moment you deactivate the mind, as I said, by going back and saying, is this safe for me to do? And if it's a yes because you're not going to physically get hurt, then transcend beyond it. It's so important that we activate the energy of love. And how we activate the energy of love is we stop judging ourselves, we forgive ourselves and others, we come into a place of compassion, we come into a place of understanding, and we hold a space, just holding the space of the darkness, of the hurt, of the loss, of the lack, whatever it may be within yourself. By just holding that space, it will begin to decompose naturally. It's a law because the body is a very intelligent system. Our spirit and our body together is so powerful. It is literally God realization into the physical form, and not from ego, from heart, knowing that the great divine one is the one that's using us as a vessel, as a channel of peace on the earth. And the only way to do it by transcending fear is eradicating the mind and coming into the heart. It's that simple. Eradication and movement from your head. You will not be annihilated by stepping beyond that point as long as it's physically safe. You can move there. A lot of people don't make the decision to move because it's emotionally not safe. But once we give ourselves that emotional stability and we hold the self with emotional congruency and love and compassion and empathy, that dissolves. Fear is actually an obstruction on the path of ascension if it's not used for physicality. So it's so important to look at it as an obstruction, to witness it as an obstruction, to sacredly give it the noise that it needs to release by holding it in that space, and then asking the obstruction to move aside where your love, your light, your soul, your spirit, your essence can become the driver. And you put the fear in the driver's side. You can never eradicate fear. What you can do is minimize it for particular occasions where it's required. On the physical front, on the spiritual front, it has no place. On the emotional place, it has no place. It's a mental construct activated by the matrix to keep you down. The second you deconstruct the matrix and deconstruct the mind by coming into the heart, it deactivates fear. It's a natural mechanism. Coming into love, coming into your power, holding that sacred space within yourself and witnessing the darkness, the judgment, the awful things you've been through eyes of compassion and through the wise elder, and holding that little one into the place of healed, it will heal. That's 50% of the way. The hardest part is witnessing it. Most people avoid the pain and move towards pleasure through a dopamine hit. Move towards the pain and confront it head on. It's a lot smaller than you think. That's the power of pain and fear. Moving it aside by witnessing it, by holding a space for it with non-judgment and compassion and empathy, it will naturally begin to dissolve. It's law of the universe. You then can ascend into your light, into your love, into your power, into your energy of, I know who I am, I know what I've got, I'm not alone, God will come through me. When you allow the energy of the divine to come through you, you're a force not to be reckoned with. Become a powerhouse unto yourself. Fear is very small, it's finite. Power and love is infinite. That's the difference. You're either going to tap into the small or you're going to move into the large. Decision is yours. Move into love, move into light, allow yourself to transcend fear. The antidote to fear is love. You activate love through your grids by witnessing the fear that's within you, or the pain that's within you, or the loss that's within you, or the lack that's within you, through compassion and empathy and forgiveness for self and others will naturally deconstruct that mechanism.